Take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more. A woman done left and took all the reason I was working for. You better not try to stand in my way as I'm walking out the door. Take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more.
Take this job on what? Most of us don't have the option of walking off the job if there's something dangerous about it. But that doesn't mean there's nothing we can do about it. The law says we're entitled to a safe and healthy workplace, and there are a number of things we can do to protect that right.
Take this job and shove it.
In a subway system in a large American city, the track and structures night crew had safety problems. Gradually, they got together and pushed and took their concerns to management. Gary Young was one of the leaders.
I work in the track and structures department, repairing the tracks for the subway system. For a couple of years, there had been numerous accidents, incidents in which people were subjected to hazards. People were losing their hearing. One fellow in particular had a ruptured eardrum as a result of a loud noise. People were becoming nauseated by the fumes that they had to breathe from the diesel machinery and from the dust that they had to breathe. People were straining their backs, receiving back injuries which were potentially crippling. People were receiving electric shocks from the accidental re-energization of the third rail. I was afraid of getting hurt. I didn't want to get hurt. I was young and healthy, and I wanted to stay that way. And a lot of young and healthy guys in the department were becoming young and crippled. And it was inevitable that that would happen to me. And it was inevitable it would happen to everyone there unless action was taken. And so it wasn't difficult, really, to become motivated, begin to fight back. We had several meetings, more or less secret meetings, of some of the workers in the department.
They will kill your back. And if you ain't holding that sucker right, it's gonna whoop you to death.
Well, basically it was because a lot of us had gripes, and some of us took them to our supervisors and stuff, and they just wasn't interested.
And we all got together and said, hey, look, it's time for us to get together and go and do something about this before everybody gets killed out here.
We did some research. We talked with a couple of doctors and read a couple of books about occupational hazards. Basically did our homework. Then we wrote down our ideas. First of all, our analysis of what the safety hazards were, and secondly, our proposals for the specific correction of those hazards. A couple of workers refused to sign it because they were afraid, but the vast majority of workers did sign it. One aspect of the report was that we demanded that there be a meeting between the committee from the track department and management.
What we need and what we want is for real. All these things are for real. My ears, they're damaged. My nose, dust in it. I go home every night coughing. So I think it's time that we did take some action, and I think it's now.
Basically, what we're saying is that we're fed up. We're tired of you stalling us.
We don't have a list of grievances here. We have concrete solutions. We have researched and we have done the work for you. We have model numbers, we have prices. Now, what we want to know is, when are you going to buy this equipment? We need it now.
Well, you gentlemen know that we don't have unlimited budgets.
It became quickly apparent that the company had not taken any action on any of our proposals. They expected us more or less to accept their vague promises. We refused to accept that from them.
Well, they were trying to go to lunch. You know, after about a half an hour, they would try and deviate from what we were trying to say, and we held our ground. We kept them there for about 5 hours.
They thought it was going to be a brief session, but we did research on earmuffs, respirators, and all of this, so they couldn't get away.
For example, have you purchased these earplugs that we specified, the ones that we gave you the model numbers and the prices and the company that produces them?
Well, I think that's something that we can look into.
We had certain specifics of equipment that we wanted, and this was mainly what the argument was. Well, this is what we want. What you have tested, we don't want that. It's no good. We want this.
What sparked it was, we also gave it to the newspaper and stuff that was sitting there.
By sending it to all levels of management and to the media, there was no way that the report could be suppressed.
Slowly, they started coming in with some of the things that we had requested.
2 weeks after we kept calling them, they did come back, get back. We did have another meeting, and they had ordered quite a bit of stuff that they had promised.
And we got a regular safety committee.
As a whole, safety did a job that was, to me, commendable, because they hadn't did a thing in the past.
They have a little bit more respect for us now. So now, when we file a grievance or a complaint about something with regards to safety, they'll pay more attention to it than they did the last time, because they're afraid that we'll do the same thing to them that we did the last time. They want to avoid that.
And all of us done ran into these brick walls and stuff, so we just started, started getting amongst ourselves and stuff and say, hey, we got to come up with something.
What happened? People got tired of running into that brick wall separately, and now we're running into it together. See, we'll break it down.
Not only does every worker have a right to safety and health on the job, but it's illegal for your employer to punish you for using that right. If you complain and are punished for doing so, you can file what's called an 11C complaint with OSHA, like Shirley Embry did, who used to work at a small restaurant chain.
What I did, cooking, serving, scrub floors, collecting money, it was okay, just okay. No, I'm not going to say another word. But it was cold in there, and our customers were complaining, too, that it was cold in there. What happened to our heat? Do it again. Oh, what can you say? There is no heat. So, that was the end of it. I decided to do something about it. Here we go. I told my boss, I said, tell Junior I'm going to call the health department about the heat. Yeah. He found out that I called. He told my boss to cut my hours back from 40 to 8 hours without any notification. Hello? Hi. I just finished with my guinea pigs. Okay, I'll meet you down at work then. I wasn't really chicken, but I wasn't the type to cause trouble either. You know, when you're banking on a paycheck every week and all of a sudden, no, you gotta do something about it. If I know I'm right, I will fight you all the way for it. But if I'm wrong, I'll back right on out the door. But a lot of people aren't like that. They won't fight either way.
Shirley, I'm so glad you did it. You have enough gumption to do it. I couldn't have done it.
No, but you could have.
No.
Sure.
I'm not calling.
Anybody could have.
No.
Oh, you mean call OSHA? Oh, yeah. When I talked to OSHA, they told me that I had a legitimate complaint, and they'd have someone get in touch with me. We sat and talked, drank a cup of coffee, and, you know, explained the whole 9 yards to him. And it's so cold in there at nighttime. It would drop 42 degrees. We were putting on our coats and sweaters. So I complained to Winnie, who was my manager. And she, in turn, complained to Junior, who was the overall district manager. He wouldn't do nothing. This went on 2 or 3 weeks. So I told him one morning, I said, I'm going to call the health department. There's got to be something someone can do. He said he didn't give a shit. Wrong words to say to me, because I did it. You know, this stranger walks into the building, you know, she takes over the kitchen. And Winnie didn't have no idea who she was or what she was doing there. I was supposed to be there. And there that lady is behind the counter working in my place. You know, who's that? What is she doing in my place? So that's when she told me my hours were cut. I said, okay, Junior's doing this to me, fine. I'm going to do something about Junior. He said he'd take it from there. Then I realized that everything was fine. I had my right. And with any kind of luck, I was going to win.
Did you win your case?
Oh, yes.
How much did they pay you?
Roughly 170. I enjoyed it.
Well, I'm glad that you got your back paid. At least you were smart doing that. Boy, it was really cold, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Boy, we have the feet trapped in the cold.
We did.
If you can't work it through with management on a health and safety problem, there are other things you can do. In a small eastern town, home of a tire processing plant, several avenues are being pursued with OSHA, with NIOSH, which tests health hazards, and finally with a lawsuit against the parent company filed by workers on their own and led by Paul Heinrich.
Well, I was born in Carmel on 30th of January, 37. My dad, he's all born and raised in Carmel. Dad worked over there for, I guess about 22, 23 years. And I've been over there, it's been going on 22 now. Be 22 in August. I guess within a 4-year period, my mother come down with cancer, and my dad, they gave him 5 years, and then I come up with it 6 months after him. And the literature you read now that we get in here, cancer definitely can be carried home to your family. I feel in my mind there's something in there.
Want to go to the car? Come on.
We've been married 24 years. I got 3 boys. I got a grandson, 9 months. Oh, yeah. My boys think they're pretty tough shooting pool. We shoot pool either. If I can get them on the plant, I like to see them go there. It's good money. I don't want them exposed to what I've been exposed to. If I can accomplish what I'm trying to do, I have no feeling. Like I said before, that paycheck's good, but you want to live to enjoy it. I've been on this safety committee since 1967. And in the early days, all you thought about was safety problems. And in the last couple of years, I guess we just become aware that there are people that has cancer over there. And then we started piecing together.
What we have to impress on the people is that we're not trying to shut the plant down. We just want a healthy place to work. It may not hurt us now, but what happens...
I first made up my mind to do this when I had my kidney taken out with cancer.
Then all of a sudden we come down with some disease. Is it related to the work, to the chemical that we were working with? We don't know. That's what we're going to find out.
And knowing that we have the state and the federal organizations we can go to and have backing for it.
You know, you never had a club to go with. But now you got the club. And, you know, we're going to use it. I called the state in. And at that time, we operate under their state OSHA plan. You can fill out a complaint form, tell them the areas you want them checked, and keep your name off of it. And they're not allowed under the law to tell the companies who filed a complaint form. After being in for a couple months, they come up with nothing. They didn't have the equipment to do this testing. It's new equipment. So that's when we call NIOSH in.
I don't know what I want to participate in that not.
What's this thing going to do?
All the testing that NIOSH did, they put these air sample things on the people, and
They kept it on the people for an 8-hour
And
period.
you can't turn the pump off unless you check with one of the industrial hygienists who will be in the area.
Okay, this is the part you've been looking forward to.
Yeah, they took blood tests.
Guaranteed to be semi-painless.
They took urine tests.
Now I'm going to ask you some questions about past illness. Have you ever had hay fever?
No. Everybody we asked to participate did.
Asthma?
No. Everybody, I think everybody realized we had a problem. They wanted to find out.
No.
And, hey, I'm proud of them.
No.
When they were testing the Tardax, they found a nitrosamines coming out of that, the mixture, I guess, in the rubber. And nitrosamines are a family of chemicals, and the biggest percentage of them chemicals are cancer. So they said the amount that they'd found in the plant was 10 times higher than any plant that they ever tested. The federal government said, hey, we've got the problem. This is the exhaust system we want to install. They're doing it. So after their 4th study, the last report I just got here a couple of weeks ago, the exhaust systems that they put in has taken this out almost 100%.
We're very, very fortunate, really, to have NIOSH come in here and find what they did.
You can see what they've done on the asbestos and the lead poisoning and so forth since they've gotten going on, and they've found that it has very probable cause. They don't let it die because the companies or the people involved say, you know, let's let it die. They keep working at it. And it's just good to know that at least one of the government agencies we're paying for is out there for our good.
We're happy it's cleared up. This is something we wanted. But now we're interested in, you know, the people that's been exposed. NIOSH is not coming in to do any more testing. But they want to do an epidemiological study of the whole plant. And I guess the reason for that is because even though they've got rid of most of it, the people that's been exposed since the 50s, they're probably going to get some cancer. It's too late for them. They're going to get it. Myself, along with about 18, 19 others, we feel we got this from the plant. There was only 5 or 6 of us still alive, and the rest of them is with us, the people that worked there. And it's something we got coming to us, I feel. If I got cancer from that plant, they owe me. And not just for me, for everybody else. Somewhere down the line, I hope we can stop this. Because I would say it's killing innocent people. Plants, not only rubber plants, are using chemicals that's causing cancer, and they're going to have to do something about it. And maybe this is going to be the route. Maybe somewhere down the line that people won't have to worry about this. It's too late for me and a lot of other people. It's something we're going to have to worry about.
I want to bring everybody up to date. I am filing suit about the cancer that I had last year. I'm doing this on my own. This union's not responsible. I mean, I know you guys have supported everything we've done through the safety committee. Without that support, we probably wouldn't be where we're at. And I know as soon as the company gets a hold of this, there's going to be a hell of a lot of questions. Do you want to make any comments on it?
If Paul can prove that his problems were work-related, why, I think there'll be a big breakthrough for the whole rubber industry, really.
If I had to give advice for anybody doing the same thing that I've been doing, use OSHA. You got NIOSH to use. Hey, it's there for you to use. That's the idea of it. It's the only protection the working man has. If you don't use it, it's your fault. And every union in this country ought to be explaining to their people about these agencies. Non-union places, I can understand why some of them people get scared. But you still got the same rights. It's hard, but we are accomplishing things. The NIOSH studies have taken the nitrosamines almost clean out of the plant. And, I mean, there's other things in there, I guess, but at least we know this is clearing up. So it's nothing you're going to do overnight. When you get into something like it, you better figure on spending a lot of time with it. And next comes a lawsuit. There's no use kidding yourself. I mean, win something like that, it's going to be a hard thing to do. But if we don't win it, maybe the company's going to wake up and start watching what they put on the market. It's going to be worth it no matter what happens.
According to its president, Frank Martino, the International Chemical Workers Union became suspicious of the herbicide, Orizolan, when workers in upstate New York began connecting birth defects.
During the 1.5 years of production of Orizolan at their plant in Rensselaer, New York, there were no known normal pregnancies and several cases of heart defects. Only one child is still living. He has undergone approximately $300,000 of surgery.
The father of the child that lived is Nick Crudo of Rensselaer, New York.
We almost lost him in Buffalo, last major surgery. He bled for 6 weeks continuously. I don't know what else I can say. I'm one of the fortunate ones, and my son is still alive. He's been in and out of the hospital for more than half of his life. I went to the hospital to pick my wife up to come home, and all of a sudden, pow, I'm hit. My child, he has a heart defect. So far, there's been 3 birth defects. 2 of the boys are dead. My son's the only one left alive. I came in contact with Orizolan numerous ways. It was an open system for handling. My uniform came home to be washed. There's a chance my wife could have been exposed, you know, through my uniform.
You trying to beat me up?
Well, the effect on families, their lives, you know, devastated.
I just want to make sure that nobody has to go through what Nick and Doug has gone through and myself. It's just pure hell. That's the only way I can describe it. You know, to have to see your child suffer, and there isn't a damn thing you can really do.
And nobody seemed to care. Nobody seemed to come and say, we're sorry, until the men got together and decided that they were going to care about themselves. And this is when they started to look into it.
You know, and the investigation was just word of mouth, man to man, until we realized we were getting into something so big that we had to call for outside help.
The Environmental Protection Agency and the Labor Department are both investigating at the union's request.
OSHA has not been able to determine whether Orizolan or some other chemical or combination of chemicals is the cause of the birth defects in these children. However, this tragedy makes clear the need for thorough testing of chemicals.
Mr. and Mrs. Crudo, the National Institute for Occupational and Safety Health is, as you're probably aware by now, involved in an evaluation of the workers at the plant, those that have worked there in the past and present, and try to put this all together in a big picture and try to determine whether or not it is the compound Orizolan or perhaps other compounds, because as you well know, having worked there for 8 years now, Nick, there are a lot of compounds, a lot of chemistry that goes on.
Can I move my truck?
Was he born with any malformations or health condition that you're aware of?
He has transposition of the great vessels. They did a open heart surgery when he was 3 weeks old. You know, this child has gone through so much surgery and poking and that you or I will never see in our lifetime, and he is only 4 years old. He developed a stress ulcer at 2.5 years old. He bled from his rectum and from his abdomen for 2 solid weeks. Just bled, poured right out of him from an ulcer at 2.5 years old. You know.
To other people, he seems great, you know, but...
To physically look at him, you wouldn't know that there's anything wrong.
I mean, there's just a patch on his hand.
His heart was backwards.
Yeah.
All the plumbing was backwards.
The worst part about it is he's not done. You know.
A company spokesman for the holder of the trademark on the herbicide insists there is no pattern of birth defects in plants that manufacture Orizolan. It simply is a coincidence of circumstance, their man said.
They've been calling this multiple coincidences, which is, you know, just a joke.
It's easy for them to say because it wasn't their child, and it's not their children. I'm sure if one of their children or their families were involved in this, this would have been investigated and something would have been done about it.
You know, if it is a game of multiple coincidences, somebody was playing with loaded dice, you know? These kids didn't have a chance.
The herbicide is no longer manufactured in upstate New York. Production has moved on to Muskegon, Michigan, among other places where an estimated 1/4 of the workforce comes in contact with it at the facility.
I think they personally found out what was happening, and they just, kept moving it. Because supposedly this product is moved across the nation like wildfire. They make it in one plant for a year and a half, 2 years, and then they go to another plant and make it. Before Roslyn came in, there was nothing like this in this plant. And after Roslyn left, there was nothing like this. It was just there and that. Nearly 2 years that we made a Roslyn, that all these defects started showing up. We decided we're going to do something about it, and we're going to continue until we either have this product stopped or they change the way it's made. We left him on a Tuesday.
1:30.
At about 1:30, playing. I was carrying around on my shoulders, and we were knocking on the windows. He was in a intensive care unit. But AJ was running around pulling on cords of other people. They just couldn't control him. He's just being his normal self. We left him at 1:30, and we went back at 5:30, and all hell had broken loose in that 3 hours.
AJ died when he was 18 months old. He went through his second operation. He just didn't come home. Well, when the baby was first born, basically I blamed myself for his condition. I thought my age had a great deal to do with what had happened to him, till I found out that Chris was a young girl and she also had the same problem. As I say, we were sort of later and we had this child, and he was like our little, I don't know, our little Prince Charming, we called him, because, he cried and 6 people ran to his side to see what was wrong, and we enjoyed him so much because we were later in having him. I even took the time to show him the flowers. I'd take him outside and show him the flowers. I never had time with my other kids to do this. And it was just, it's heartbreaking. It's terribly heartbreaking to have to lose him like this. You just can't comprehend that a chemical can destroy so many lives.
Take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more.
Everything that we have accomplished, we did it on our own.
I feel like we were very successful. Sitting down with management and twisting their arm and forcing them to take us seriously. Once we did that, management began to be cooperative.
Well, you must go through that system first, If you don't get no effects, you can keep going further, but at least go through that system first. Make them aware.
My advice is that you can get another job, but you can't get another life.
Don't be chicken. Do it. Don't say it. Just do it.
It's just somebody has to have a backbone in the organization that they are in, their company, and try to organize, because the union definitely helps you.
You think you have any problems, call in OSHA for an inspection. You got NOSH. Now, these agencies are there for your protection and the people who ought to use them. You got the best qualified people in the country working with these people.
Today, Paul has cancer. There's about 11 of us here at the table. How many of us tomorrow are going to have cancer? Because we let something die away.
Every chemical worker has a right to question what he's working with and not to be afraid of his job, because there is no one who's going to look out for you but you.